Plantain, the seedlings. What we now do is...
The Nigerian government has argued that there is no threat of famine in Nigeria. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development stressed that it is virtually impossible for Nigeria to face famine or starvation because the country remains a major source of food for other African countries, such as Algeria and Libya. He, however, considered that the unbalanced food nutrients ingested by some people could cause malnutrition in the country. He said wrong approach to food processing and materials used for packaging of food can cause this. More so, in recent time, the government has been encouraging more Nigerians to go into farming, especially rice cultivation. The government believes with efforts currently being made in Nigeria to stop importation of rice by meeting the nationwide demand of 7 million tons through local production annually by the year 2018, the country will soon be saving $7 million daily in its foreign reserve. From unemployed locals to foreign investors and Africa's richest man, many people in Nigeria are investing in rice farming. The reason is that domestic rice prices have more than doubled in the last 2 years due to an import ban and a dive in the Nigerian currency. At the same time, the government is subsidizing tractors, mills and fertilizers, as well as arranging cheaper loans to boost production with considerable success.
If I get 80 bags, maybe at that time, I selling 1 bag for 5,000, 4,500 to 6,000. So about last year, at least I spent about 500,000 because of the inflation. So I selling 1 bag about per 1 bag at 10,000 to 11,000. So I got about 300,000 profit.
Mohammed took up growing rice 3 years ago to help fund his university studies in Bauchi. When he finished last year, he opted for a career in the fields rather than in architecture. But the drive to cut an annual food import bill of $20 billion has run into the kind of problems that have long bedeviled Nigeria's efforts to build up an economy outside its dominant oil industry. Despite rice growing being a government priority, many farmers still grow with their bare hands in fields in Gadao, in the country's North Bauchi state, and lack irrigation channels. Mills are often ramshackle, while poor roads make getting the crop from the main growing areas in northern Nigeria to consumers in the south difficult and costly. As a result, the industry has so far failed to fill a supply shortfall amounting to about 3 million tons of milled rice created by the import ban.
Now we are afraid because government about the presidential program about Anko Barawas, Anko Barawas, Padama, and Jess. So they are coming to support us with the fertilizer and machine.
In Bauchi State, hundreds of farmers are busy expanding, preparing new fields and drilling water holes for irrigation. Farms have been opening across much of the country, lifting output of milled rice to 7.85 million tons in 2016, a 17.4% jump from 2014. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. That compares with just 4.5 million in 2010 before the campaign began. Until 2015, Nigeria imported up to 4 million tons of rice annually, much of which was smuggled from the western neighbor, Benin Republic. But this has fallen to about 700,000 tons as authorities now monitor the border, industry players say. That lifted prices for the staple, along with currency curbs imposed to prop up the naira, which has been hit by a fall in revenues from Nigeria's oil exports. Part of the rise is because farmers are passing on higher costs, saying the government subsidies are not enough. Importers have to pay a premium of 30% over the official rate to get dollars on the black market for buying the foreign-made machinery and fertilizers that growers need. On top of this, farmers complain that endemic corruption means the government help doesn't always reach the right people.
They allocate the fertilizers to individuals. Some are not farmers. Some they will only get the fertilizer to sell. They are not even farmers. So if it comes to the local government, something like that as well happens.
President Muhammadu Buhari has made fighting graft a priority since coming to power 2 years ago. but he has to work with Nigeria's 36 states, where officials executing the federal programs often help out supporters or relatives. Farmers and food producers can get subsidized loans well below the benchmark interest rate of 14%. But farmers say they are waiting too long for their loans to get approved because banks are new to the farming business. Nigeria has imported 110 mills, which removes grit in the process. But most farmers still go to villagers to handle their rice with homemade machines. The rice boom has also drawn large-scale investment from Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, and foreign firms to supply the huge market of 190 million people who consider rice to be an important part of their diet, used in popular recipes like jollof, a type of spicy fried rice. The lack of good roads also means that rice from the north hardly reaches Lagos, Nigeria's biggest city. The government plans to increase capital spending by nearly a quarter in 2017 to fix potholed routes and help trade. However, a collapse in oil revenues due to low world prices has slowed many projects. Nigerian growers also struggle to meet quality standards set by foreign agribusinesses, with consumers complaining about having to extract grit from the rice, which is on sale in local markets.
The problem with the local rice is the stone. But if basically it has been destoned, it tastes better than the foreign rice. So if I'm in a hurry, I prefer the foreign rice because of the stone. There are no stones. But if I have all the time, I'll always prefer the local rice because it is more tastier.
Larger investors hope Nigeria will not repeat the mistakes of the past by losing interest in domestic food production if and when global oil prices pick up again, helping the naira to recover and making imports cheaper.
Indeed, more efforts are needed to reduce the negative impact of violence and climate change of food production. Should nothing be done, more lives will be lost, and that will result in more crises. That's our program for today. Thank you for being a part of it. We have this episode and other edition of the program online at youtube.com/channelsweb. Do click on the playlist menu and then Earth File. From me, Ayola Kasim, and the crew here in Lagos. It's bye for now.